Cancer, diabetes, obesity, hypertension, and asthma are all examples of non-communicable diseases, and sadly, these diseases are the leading cause of death globally. But do they really affect us here in Africa? And are Africans really living with these diseases? Find out here at the African NCD Champions podcast as we share incredible stories of Africans living with non-communicable diseases. My name is Ogweno Stephen and I'll be your host. Let's roll. With all of the sort of the experience that you already have at the moment with your condition and sort of what you've seen happening in the space, what are some of the solutions that you'd suggest to government, to policymakers, to private institutions to improve the current living standards of people living with chronic kidney diseases, for example, and even broadly people living with other non-communicable diseases? So what are some of the solutions that you've already thought of, or ways, especially from a person living with it perspective, that then can be used to sort of influence policy and sort of change a few things here and there, even from a private organization's perspective?
I think there's a number of things we need to do as a country. I think the first, I would say, generally is just we need to really fix our healthcare. There's a lot that is not working in our healthcare system, and in the process, we escalate conditions, things that would routinely be handled even from lower levels at dispensary, to really scale up to now situations that they are now very expensive to manage. So I think that is the base, the background upon which I think we'll start this. Beyond that, now specifically, I think over time, I think I've also had even suggestion I've written to NHIF just to raise some of these issues. And one of the biggest proposals that I was making, I realized, what do we need to really do so that we net these conditions early enough? Meaning we need to really do routine checkups. So you think of something like there's pap smear for women, the checking on cervical cancer, something that can you can really be able to tell a lot from it, and it's a very cheap and manageable process. You do it like now easy for breast examination, which is always advised for women routinely, maybe once or twice in a year. It's a simple process, but through that we can catch something at a very early stage and really deal with it. You look at something, I would pick now kidney disease. Chronic kidney disease progresses from stage 1 to stage 5. This is something that can take 20 years or 10 years. So meaning, I would say if I was somebody who was living in a system where maybe through NHIF, a routine card like now national insurance like NHIF, this part of NHIF is a mandatory bodily checkup, full body checkup every year, where you are tested on now your organ functions, kidney, liver, blood, things like that. If part of maybe there was a part of the package, the package for having the insurance was now within every year, once, only once, you do a full body checkup. I think at some point somebody would have realized maybe 5 years or 10 years ago that my kidney was trying to have some problem. It's just a routine blood test. The test getting the kidney function test is just a blood test. So I think those are some of the things, those are the easier things we can always get away with. And I think through that we can really correct a lot. Is it not diabetes, is not these cardiovascular diseases, is not cancers. There's a lot that we can really check just through having a routine checkup. So as early as somebody maybe at 15 years old, this is something we can start. And you also realize even today we have even people younger than even 12 years old who have kidney problems. So it can start as early as what? So I realize it will save even NHF a lot of money. Today, if I was off dialysis, through dialysis, I think what NHF pays for me annually is 760,000. That's a reimbursement given to my facility for 2 sessions every week. That is 8 in a month. 8 times 52 in a year. So you look at that, we really be saving a lot. We might even be using 100,000 on an individual in an entire year, but we've really saved ourselves from now recouping all this in an entire year, leave alone the other expenditures along that comes, maybe through private insurance and other things. So I think that, for me, I always realize that if we really pick that particular direction, then we're able to really address all of these things in the early stages. Managing disease in this our country, especially on not very well improved healthcare system, we don't have the best machinery, we don't have the best diagnosis systems here, is very expensive. The first process, the problem would be, before somebody even realize that you have cancer, you would have gone through maybe tests for around 50 or diseases. You will be treated for pneumonia, you will be treated for what, you will be treated for what, for different things, before finally you realize this person was having a cancer, this person was having this person was having pneumonia. You will be taken through, you'll spend a lot of money through that. So even our diagnosis system is a problem. But what is the easiest thing? Discovering these things when they're so early, when the systems we're having and the machinery we're having is able to detect, do early detection. But when now they escalate and they become in their later stages, now they become complicated, and even sometimes we don't have even the best machines to discover them. If the best machines, then they're in very expensive facilities where most people cannot access normally. So I think that is always a window that I've always looked at, is a place we can really explore. So I think counties can really think about it as we go into the space of universal health coverage. We really need to look at the best way to really do that. And I think, yes, the country has agreed that we'll be pursuing an insurance-based system, where like each household will be having an insurance card through the national provider NHIF. So I think is an opportunity that we can, among the various reviews we are doing, we need really to embrace mandatory checkup annually for all Kenyans, so that at least we're able to really correct a lot of things in the process. The other important thing is just, I think counties are also messing up with health. I think healthcare is not working with county governments. I think I've always been asking this question: if procurement for services like now the dialyzers we are using was left to counties, the way people fight, argue about tenders, and for us these are things you need them. I need a dialyzer on Wednesday. I need another one on Saturday. You can't reuse. You need a full package. You need quality tubes. You need all those quality. And I always think, like, you look at how people play with procurement, getting substandard things in public facility just for the sake of getting kickbacks. And here, I always see, if I go for dialysis and a tube breaks, I always ask, okay, what will happen? Yes, it has never happened, but I'm saying, what will happen? What will happen? If you procure the wrong dialyzer, then in the process I get infection. Because that thing, it goes directly into my blood. I get an infection. How do you deal with that? Because somebody, out of greed, you procured a substandard thing just to get a cut out of it. So you ask yourself all those several questions, and you see how we are killing a generation just through greed. And I feel the more we also have 44 units competing on greed, who is greedier than the other, I think at the end of the day what we are doing, we are competing and sending more people to grave. And I see more people are dying. Even in our clinic, I think last year there are around 4 people who died. Some could be blamed from just negligence, poor management from family and caregivers around this particular person, and many other things that sometimes you might not even be aware about. But is a contribution of almost every other unit. The hospital has played their part, the caregivers, the ward, everybody is contributing to that particular process. So you realize those particular things. I think we just need to take greed off things like health. And that's the biggest problem I always have in this country, where like now the infrastructure for dialysis is 70% provided by private facilities. You see, that is the most dangerous state to really have a healthcare where private practice is what really offers almost half or over half of that particular service. If there's a conflict between private and public government, and then you see everything collapse. Even the fear now we are having is private facilities have threatened to cut off dialysis from their services if government goes ahead to implement this reduced capitation. So you ask yourself, fine, in Kisumu, where we are today, we have 5 private facilities offering dialysis and one government, which is Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Teaching Referral Hospital, which does not have more than 20 beds, and also does dialysis twice in a week, Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday and Thursday. So then I ask, these other 5 facilities, suppose they stop offering services,
what happens?
What happens? As simple as such. And for us, like, I go to Kisumu Specialist, we have patients from Vihiga, Siaya, I know somebody come from Oyugis, come there, I know somebody from Kakamega also comes to that particular clinic. So you look at that state, then you realize that yes, as much as health has become a profiteering area, I think health is one of the things that we should not be delivering for profit at whatever cost. So I think yes, we need to fix health, but beyond that we also just need to improve
on service delivery,
in general, and just tame our greed when it comes to health. I think we can take our greed elsewhere. So but health, I think, is costing lives.
Because health really costs lives.
Yes, health is everything. You start from health, then it gets into
everything else.
Yes. Otherwise, then we won't, even the voters, even those voters,
where will you
if
find
they can't
them if they are sick?
Be on their feet to walk to a polling station, then you don't extract any value from them. So it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Final question.
Yes.
What is sort of like what is your call to action? What is your like final remarks, especially to even just the normal people who will be watching and also listening to the podcast? What would be like your call to action? Okay,
I always say, they say what? If life give you lemons, make lemonade. So I think that is what it gave me, and I'm trying to make lemonade out of the lemons that life has provided to me. And my call to action is something has to be done. Somebody has to do something. And I always believe you are not too little, too less, too inferior to always not be able to do something. There is some innate ability in almost everybody. Young, old, weak, tired, sick. There's always something inside you that can always make a difference somewhere. So whether it's a voice, whether it's just by walking into a space somewhere, through your presence alone, there's always something that you can always do. So I always believe that yes, in this business of living, there's we have a duty to live this life better. So this is through our actions, omissions. So you have to choose. You have to make a choice. You have to make a choice.
Yeah.
So I think for me it's about choices. So is which choices are you making? So for me is I've made a choice. Beyond living my life, beyond having a family who depend on me in one way or another, I think I have a duty to ensure that our healthcare improves. And I think I have energy to do something about that. Challenge where I think NHF is doing a problem. If I can reach my MP, I can reach my senator, I will always speak to them, and that this is not right. We're also in a very democratic space in terms of even communication. I can do a draft, a letter, and write directly to NHF. I think they love to read it. I've gotten responses even previously. So I'm trying to take advantage of this particular space. In the same process, I'm also talking to people around. I also talk to patients. I tell them, your silence will not save you in this country. So I always tell them, I will always be in the first lane. Even if there's a problem today happening, I know I will always be in the other side of it. So that's how I always look at life. I always say, yes, these many things I'm doing. Even if today there's a space where a solution will be made from. I know by design or by default, I'm most likely to get myself in that particular space. So even now, like the case I've taken to court, if a decision will be made that we stay, because I'm asking the prayers, part of the prayers I'm asking is to stay, we remain status quo. Status quo. We continue with dialysis, 2 sessions of dialysis, which has been reimbursed at 9,500. If that prayer is granted, because I'm taking a constitutional case, I've advanced several statutes in the constitution that at least are saying that yes, my rights are being violated. I'm along other 5,000 patients. I'm looking, if this case goes through and my prayers are granted, there is another 5,200 Kenyans who would have benefited from this. So as simple as that, just deciding that we want to proceed with this matter. Then the president, when I decided, some people came and told me, yes, you proceed. We can help you pay the bills. As simple as such. If that prayer is granted, as simple as that, whichever way it will go, there's a decision which will be made. I know whether we sit again and discuss, we'll have to get at a solution which is better than what NHF is proposing. So for me, yes, it will go down in history that at least something was done. But I would have made a decision to continue going for my dialysis as I wait for somebody else to do this, which I'm sure nobody was going to do it. Or if it was being done, it would have been done in a different way, different from what I'm doing currently. So that's what I always say. Life is about choices, and there's a duty in this living that something has to be done by almost everybody. So I'm feeling I'm cutting my space. Somebody else has a duty to cut in his own space.
Everybody cuts their share.
Cut your share and run away with it. And I think if you're able to do that, then I think we'll make it better. Yes. So that is how I look at life, and I think that is the spirit upon which I keep on driving this journey of living. Yes.
And with that, I think that's a very, very strong point to sort of get us to wrap up this this season. And with that, I really want to thank you very much for being very apt with us, sharing a bit of your story, but also sharing solutions to that, and really showing that even as patients living with non-communicable diseases, we also have a choice, and we have innate power within us that we can use to create positive change and influence the lives of others like us who are living in the same space.
I agree.
And with that, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you too.
All right. Now that was incredible. Thank you for listening in. Share this with your networks and follow us on all social media at Storelink and at NCD Champions. See you on the next one.